Good morning. This is Susan Cousino. This is the office hour for Oregon State University PDC-PRO summer 2023. This is call number 10, the final call, and the next lesson due is assignment 10 on December 4th, which is different from our normal pattern of it being due the following week. So you guys are going to get an extra week. But of course, if you can submit it within the week, that would be fantastic. Okay. So the next lesson coming up due is the concept plan and local network survey. So the local network survey is going to be pretty straightforward. Like I think all of the other, like other surveys, it's a lot of information gathering. Just let me find my share screen here. Okay, so it's going to be information gathering about local resources, like human resources that you can call upon. I'm just going to bring up the template here. Okay, and then the concept plan is going to be a lot of pieces pulling forward from the rest of your design that you've been working on so far. So let's just go all the way down. Okay, local network survey, let's go here. So if you haven't looked at this yet, here we are. So other designers and farms, other illustrators. So these are useful to call upon, especially if you've been struggling with the tech. Very few of us, if any, that I know of, do all of the work ourselves. So I know actually most designers, we're going to talk about this on the professional call on December 7th. Basically, very rarely do a full detailed, itemized design like you guys have done in the course here. So it's really useful to know what that looks like and know what it should look like and know what elements are necessary. But very few clients actually have or want to use the resources to pay for that full detailed design map. Nonetheless, knowing someone that is able to do that level of illustration and design, which is a whole other skill set, or can be a whole other skill set that you may not already have, unless you're already working in graphic design or some sort of mapping work. It's really useful to have someone to call upon. So I worked for years just totally on my own. I could do mock-ups of designs in, I'm just going to turn the notifications on my phone off here, sorry. I could do a full mock-up in, for instance, like PowerPoint, or I've been using Affinity Designer, and I could do it, but it's clunky and it takes me hours and hours. Like I wind up making a few dollars an hour. It doesn't feel very good. It's exhausting. And like nothing comes easy or like flows very well, which I think comes through in the design. It's a little bit clunky. Now I'm working with a colleague in Northern California who has worked in the past with an engineering design firm. And so they have a GIS, someone who is trained in GIS, so ArcGIS, QGIS. So it can turn out really detailed maps. And then we've also got another person that we've been working with more recently who comes from, he kind of did the opposite path. He comes from a design, graphics designing background and moved into mapping and more permaculture, regenerative agriculture related work. So both of those people have been super, super useful for us. We pay them anywhere from $100 to $150 an hour, which is about the rate that we're charging out for our work. And it just makes it really, really, it's so much easier because we can mock up our concept plan or our basic design, which we call a concept map. So it's a little bit different than what we're terming here as a concept plan, but basically a concept map or concept plan is a rough out of like where you want things to go, kind of your estimated measurements, and then like lists of like the actual numbers, what the real measurements are, and where those are taken from, and that's all that detail. And then you can ship that to an illustrator or a skilled mapper, GIS person who can turn that into a beautiful map. So let me show you what that looks like. I don't have the mock-ups to show you, but I can show you an example of a recent job that we worked on. No. So here's the map index. So these are what all of them look like. So that's a poor example because there wasn't a lot of detail. Here's a better example. There's a couple that are really quite involved. This is probably a good one. I'm gonna make that really big so you can see better. See how long this takes to load. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now you can see the level of detail. So this is all worked off of geographically referenced photos. So they're taken in Avenza. You can also, here's GIS maps. There's other apps you can use. We use Avenza, it works well. You can take pictures in the field and then it automatically tags it with the geographic data. So then you know where that, you know exactly where the picture comes in. You can plug it into Google Earth and it'll come up on the image where it should actually belong. So there's none of that like, oh, it was taken about here at this angle, like you know exactly where it is. So then our mapping guy has made this all look really nice. He's given it like the proper numbers for permits. He's indicated, you know, some reference points. This is stream crossing needs to be done right here, another here, that sort of thing. So yeah, so that's kind of level of detail that we can get with someone that is actually working in GIS. Now I can do that. It's not going to look as nice. It's not going to have this like really nice legend here. I'll spread that out again. You know, this nice legend and everything. Like he just makes it really look really nice. And in the meantime that he's working on that, like that can take us a couple weeks to get back. Then we're actually working on the detailed reports, which are coming out to like anywhere from 20 to 30 or 40 pages. So we can work in tandem rather than waiting for one thing and then being able to start the next stage. So we each kind of pick our zone of genius that we work from. So I primarily do like the data management spreadsheets and then generating the reports. And then once the report's generated, the information is in and accurate, because I'm not doing the site visits for sites that are, you know, more than 8-hour drive away. I can go back and do like the fine-tune editing and the final formatting. So that's all just worked out into a really nice workflow for us. Other categories might be things like, oh, you've already listed nurseries elsewhere, but if there's something that comes up like irrigation store or a pipe supplier, what are some other examples? Maybe like a general, for instance, like tractor supply, like a general hardware and farm supply store, that might be useful here. So different educators. This could include universities if you've got a local, you know, permaculture regenerative program, like Chico State has the regenerative ag bachelor degree. So, and then some images make it look pretty as always. Okay, and then your SWOT, and that's your survey done and dusted. So now in your concept plan, oh, hold on. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to keep an eye on these because my husband threw his back out and has my daughter. But he also threw his back out this week, so I need to make sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I need to make sure he's okay. They went swimming in the ocean. Sounds like his back is doing better. So, okay, apologies for the interruption, but we got to look after our family too. Okay, so existing base map, you've done this already. Check. Okay, your proposed. So this is your final color concept map overlaid on top of your existing base map in grayscale. So highlight all those specific design elements, whatever you've got, if that's going to be garden beds, rainwater tanks, particular fruit tree guild. There's this list of plant lists, plant resources. Unfortunately, this natural capital plant database is still unavailable, or that's become unavailable, which is really unfortunate. But all of these others are available, and there's a few extras now. So now you're going to get into a peek into my email. Dow just sent out an email about plant databases. Okay. So Dow, she was asking all of the instructors. Yeah, include as a resource in the lesson 8 assignments. It's also clearly in lesson 10. Okay, made a plant page with plant identification resources. Let me see, here we go. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna make sure that gets dropped into the discussion for, here's for the office hour, resources link. So you've got it, so it's going to be in the office hours discussion, and it's also going to be in the, oh, this is for the other course. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'll find that. Anyway, what you're gonna look for, let me show you here. Go into your course and you should find this pages under here on the left side menu. You're going to find pages. It's way down here, plant identification resources. So look for that. I will go back in your course and provide that link in a few more places so it's easier to find. And I'll make sure you've got that because this is outdated now. Unfortunately, the NCPD has withdrawn their the access that they provided to students in the past. But no matter is, I mean, they've got a very detailed database, but these also provide a huge amount of information. Okay. This is all, I think, straightforward. Your goal, specify your goals, your zones, pathways over your, so here's where you're using your grayscale base map. I'm going to make a comment that this is in the, okay, why the grayscale? Okay, why the grayscale? I'll read it. Final concept plan in lesson 10. Probably one of the better reasons I've given, besides being able to print it out in black and white, which is useful. Okay, here's your water management plan. This should largely be done already from the previous assignments. Soil fertility map. So this is, yes, this is stuff you've all basically covered before. You might just be presenting a little bit differently. Close-up of your final design. So this is, a lot of this is like review of stuff that you've already done. Your plant system design, is all done. You're detailing it out here. Okay, now this is one area that students, I don't want to say often, but do sometimes struggle with. These are budget estimates. So this is going to be your best guess based on what you know. And if you don't know, take a guess. Maybe Google like 3 sites or find like any little bit of information you can find. If you're going to have to be doing earthworks, so something like this, improve driveway diversion, for instance. If you have enough experience to think about that and be like, that's based on my driveway, the site access, everything, I think that's probably going to be about a 5-hour job. You could look up a few contractors in your area. You could call up a few contractors, ask them what their hourly rate is, ask them what their delivery, their travel time, delivery for equipment, if they have a minimum hourly rate, if they have like kind of a day rate, that they can be there the whole day and maybe work on some other projects. Often that's cheaper than doing an hourly rate. So just get an estimate, your best guess, and you can always improve it later. Any information is better than zero, right? So if you're wildly over, great, you're going to have more room in your budget. If you're wildly over and you've got more room in your, then that money can be allocated to something else. If you're under, then you're going to learn, hopefully you're not under by like a huge margin, but I've worked with plenty of designers that build like 20 to 30% buffer in their budgets, so that you're planning, or you're almost planning to be over or under by at least a third. Also, when you're planning materials, it's very typical to budget a 10% overage. So that can be things like boards that aren't straight, super common with, for instance, like if you're picking up lumber at Home Depot, or if you're picking up rough lumber, and you're planning to like plane it, then you're losing, a certain portion of that. Some boards are going to be broken, something you're gonna have to get a return on, or you're going to need to buy some extra because something is not the right shape or whatever. Always plan for about 10% overage on your materials aspect. Yeah, okay, so in terms of planting vegetation, this is where your measurements and your scale make a big difference, because if you've estimated it's 15 feet and it's actually 30 feet on your map on the ground, if you've estimated 15 feet on your map and it's 30 feet on the ground, suddenly you've got room for, for instance, maybe twice the number of shrubs, or one more 2 or 3 year old tree than you had anticipated, and that can really impact how your design turns out. It can also just be a thing. It can just be a learning experience. Like, oh, we've got more room for another tree. We're going to add, a shrub, for instance. So you've kind of got like a tapered look as you're going down into it. So different things are just these are just things to keep in mind, that this is where the accuracy of your mapping is really helpful, because it gives you a better opportunity to be more accurate in your budget estimates. A lot of like structures, energy stuff, you should be able to get decent rough estimates from local contractors. Some will come out and do a free assessment. They're of course expecting to do that free assessment with the expectation that you're going to hire them, so it can be quite a salesy consult. Whereas if you just pay, if you have in your budget or have in your resources the ability to either bring a friend that has that knowledge, or hire a company just to do a straight up consult without the implication that you're going to be hiring them, then sometimes that's actually more, it's likely to be more reliable, and it's also possibly more budget friendly to spend a little bit up front to get that, to get a more, there's a term, unbiased estimate, pardon me. So there you go. Okay. All right. So permaculture principles, this should go back to earlier in the course. So there's anywhere, you look at different systems, there's anywhere from 12 to 15 primary principles, depending on the practitioner, but choose, things like using waste as a resource, starting small, slow solutions, anything like that, stacking functions, and just pick one of those principles and decide how it's been applied. There's no real right or wrong here. Just pick a principle and choose. You're probably going to be using more than just 4. I would hope that you're using more than just 4, but just choose those examples. So don't feel under pressure to add as many as you can find that you've used. I mean, if you wanted to add another slide, but just don't let it get like super crowded and stuff. Like, I'd rather you did 4 or 5 principles really clearly that you did well, than try to jam in little examples of all 12. So, or all 15 or all 12, whatever. There's your SWOT analysis, and here's for your final, for any questions you've got. And then of course, if you've been putting resources and stuff into this appendix, make sure that's cleaned up, because that's going to, I'll just take a look at that at the end. It's not, I don't think there's actually a section for it in the rubric. I'm just going to check. I don't believe so, because not all students do an appendix and resource. So yeah, okay. So that's it, and then you're done. If you're interested in ongoing support beyond the end of the course, I've got different options available for that. I'm still sort of like working things out and tweaking it, because students say they want a certain level of support and then they don't sign up for that. So I'm trying to find where I can meet people where they're at and provide that support, or even just like, hey, what are your next steps? So we do have the professional webinar. That's going to be Milo Stewart and I on December 7th. I think it's from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Dow is going to be hosting, so Dow Orient will be hosting, and so Milo and I are just going to talk about our own professional journeys. And I don't know about Milo's. I know mine doesn't really follow the like, hey, took a permaculture course, you know, went into like professional design. It kind of does. Like I've done consulting projects along the way, but where I've actually found the most juice for myself, I kind of hate the word juicy, but where I found like the most leverage and traction for myself was using my professional background as an ecologist and biologist to work more in like grant, not so much grant administration, but grant writing, editing, finalizing reports, getting data and managing that. And that's felt like a better fit for me. Like I can do the design, and I've worked for some design clients and I worked with other designers, but I really kind of like being at the back end and doing the editing and finalizing piece more than that. So, and then certain teaching aspects of like strategy, even mindset stuff a little bit. And like some specific applications. For instance, I'm building a course right now for ecological applications of like, well, ecological design applied to horse track paddock systems, which are kind of a hot topic right now in the equine world. So that's something that I've found that I've just really had to like meander kind of to find my way through here. So okay, well, that is our final office hour call. I'm going to turn things off because it's 10 to 11 and I haven't got anybody in. I hope that detail helps move forward wherever you're at. If you're still trying to catch up, that's okay. You do have an extra week. So normally your final assignment would be due November 28th. And there's a bit of an administrative snafu, which has worked out in your favor. So you actually get kind of an extra week to do your final submission. I do ask that you really do your best to get it in on the 4th, because I won't have a lot of time to catch up. You know, I need to have all your final marks in by the 10th in order for you to get your certificate. This is a bit of a larger assignment, so it takes me a little bit longer to mark, and I do try to like reel back through your project and kind of like tie it all together. So that takes more time. So if you can keep that in mind and do try to get your assignment in on the Monday, December 4th, that would be super helpful. Anybody that gets it in next Monday would have a real advantage, because then I could get the marking done that much earlier. So, okay. I'm looking forward to seeing who makes it across the finish line. And I just want to applaud all of you wherever you're at in the journey of the course for doing the work and getting as far as you have done. Even if you haven't been able to finish, there are opportunities to re-enroll in another program or in another run of the course. If you haven't found the course to your liking or to meet your needs, reach out either to me, to Dow, to somebody, like maybe Andrew, that's administering the course. Let us know what was missing for you, and we may be able to direct you to other resources. There are other programs that might be a better fit for you, because we want to make sure you get the knowledge that you're looking for, not just that you finish up this particular course. So, okay, great job, and I look forward to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a bonus call. Schedule's a little tight, but I will let you all know, and this recording will go up. So looking forward to seeing all those final design projects coming in. Okay, thank you.